Hi everyone, as you can see by the pile of red cards on the screen, we are playing Ruby Storm today, and specifically we're playing the Izzet or the blue-red version of Ruby Storm. I'm trying out Flame of Anor. I have not yet played Ruby with Flame. I didn't initially include it. I felt like it was maybe a little bit slow, but people have been having good success with it, so I definitely want to try it out and just get my own opinion on it. Preordain I still think is pretty good here. So it's very good during setup, and I think it's quite good even during the combo turn. You just need to be a little bit careful what you're doing with Metamorphosis and everything like that. But if you look at how Gift Storm has operated for years, you know, it's played cantrips during the combo turn, and that's fine. You just need to be mindful of, you know, making blue mana where needed. So I think Preordain definitely can still have a place, and I think it's just pretty strong overall in the shell. The sideboard is pretty straightforward. Either we're going to be bringing in 4 Flood Maw against decks with like hate permanents or like energy or whatever, and against counterspell decks we're going to be bringing in 4 silence. The rest of this is basically just wish targets to hit as, you know, as needed. Oracle, Grape Shot, Pest and Flames, Empty, Galvanic, usual stuff, and then our companion Jegantha. So let's get into the first round. All right, so we are on the play. We revealed our Jegantha companion, and we have an opening hand here that I think is pretty good. We have a ritual, we have flame, we have Preordain to help us find a bear, and you know, we can just like play a turn 2, strike it rich, get a surveil land, and then maybe turn 3 we flame, try and go turn 4. If things work well for us, we could maybe try and go on turn 3, but I think this is going to be a slightly slower hand. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, although in some matchups it could be. I do like this a little bit better on the play because we should have a little bit more time to sculpt. All right, so Preordain to start us off, shocking in the steam vents. So I can go for the Ral. I do like that. I don't think I need this Valakut Awakening. And we're going to pass. And let's see what our opponent is doing. So with this Scalding Tarn, I'm going to probably fetch the Thundering Falls, just because I don't necessarily need the silence in the main deck. Our opponent is playing Razorgrass Field, so a white land. And then they're playing Guide of Souls. Okay, so is it maybe energy, but energy with a Razorgrass Field? I don't know if they play that, so that's kind of interesting. I'm going to play Scalding Tarn, and then I'm going to play the Strike It Rich. Now we've given away that we're on Storm. That is okay. I mean, Steam Vents Preordain with Jegantha is... Preordain's not necessarily as much of a Storm card currently, so they could have made... Well, Jegantha's a little bit weird. Maybe they could have thought like some sort of blue-red prowess. Ocelot Pride. Okay, so they're playing cards that are energy cards, but then they're playing another tap land, or another what's it called, another dual face land. So this is raising the question for me of, is there some reason that they're not playing like normal lands? And I am starting to wonder, are they like Energy Belcher or something? I don't think I need another Ral. I'm going to send that away. One gains a life to get another energy. We're not under immediate threat here. Preordain is pretty good as a draw. So if I Preordain here, or I could maybe try and make something happen this turn. Alternately, I just hold up Flame, probably draw 2 on the end step, and then try and go next turn. I think I'm not likely to be dead next turn. I could also Preordain and then potentially crack the treasure if I wanted. I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay waiting here on the Preordain and just going for the end step Flame, draw 2. I will get a mountain with this probably. I think I'm not likely to be under like lethal threat next turn. I would start to get a little bit more concerned the turn after that, but I mean, because they do have Ocelot Guide, and that can do a lot of damage. They could have an Ajani or something maybe coming down. We do need to be a little bit mindful about, like, Solitude. So they could definitely be a Solitude deck. They're Squadron Hawking. Are they Martyr with a bunch of dual lands? So that they just keep their hand full of white cards? I would be very concerned about Solitude now. Still, I don't think it makes that much sense to have the second Ral, but we should try and play our Ral at a timing that is friendly to Solitude for us. Another tap land, so they are tapped out of mana. They take 3 Squadron Hawks. They have the 3rd energy counter, so they're going to get to pump something here. And all right, so they're pumping that up. We're taking 5, so we'll be at 11. They're going to gain a cat token, which will gain them another life. We're going to have to fetch down to 10. And then we can play the flame, targeting ourself. Up another Ral, which could be decent into a Solitude, maybe. Reckless Impulse is also a good pickup. And I think here is our window to go for it. I don't feel like I need to give them another turn. I'm going to fetch with this Wooded Foothills just to thin slightly. Slightly improves our odds. And so if I lead on a Ral, I mean, I do need to worry about, are they going to... Alright, I think I am going to lead on a Ral, and then I'm going to Reckless Impulse, and if they remove it, then I can respond with Pyretic Ritual, and then decide what I'm doing based on that. They have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage in play, so I think it is not likely we survive, or not likely we win if we pass this turn. So let's go for a Reckless Impulse. And do they have removal here? I think they would use it here if they had it. Yeah, they do. Okay. So we're going to respond with a Pyretic. Now, do they have second Solitude is the question. So we have a 50-50 chance here at making something happen. Okay, we don't make anything happen there. We do have the Ritual. Solitude happens. Now we are just in the clear, assuming we can find some business. Do gain a life from the Ral. We've played 2 spells so far this turn. So for our next Ral, we are at 2. We won the flip. We will use the ability. Doesn't do a whole lot. We hit a Manamorphose and a Reckless Impulse, so that's excellent. I can Preordain first, although it might be better to preserve the treasure and instead make the Manamorphose happen. So I think here I'm going to go Ral, and then I'm going to Impulse. And if there is some issue, then I will respond with the Manamorphose. But I think they don't have a second Solitude. Otherwise, I think there's a reasonable case to use it there, because we have a 50-50 to flip it, and if that was our only creature, then they would just lose. On the other hand, if I Manamorphose first, I can make red blue and potentially have 2 blue if I need it, but I think I'm not likely to need 2 blue. So I'm gonna go for the Impulse. Lost the flip. Okay, that's fine. This is spell number 3. We hit a Ruby Medallion, which is really not great. We'll go for a Morphos. This is spell 4. I do not want to flip it yet. Here I'm going to add red blue. Okay, Pyretic is excellent here. Preordain would be spell 5. Yeah, I don't really have any way around. Oh, this is spell 5. Let me just double count that again. It's Pyretic, Reckless, Reckless, Morphos. Yep, this is 5. So we would not like to use his ability. We ideally find another spell. Okay, yeah, Ren's Resolve is excellent. We don't need Flame of Anor. We'll go Pyretic. Now we flip if we can. Tails, we won the flip. All right, so we are lucky. So we will flip the Ral. Pyretic happens. We can play the Ruby. So why not? Well, I should actually wait and see what I hit with the Ral. Minus the Ral. Okay, we hit a bunch of mana, and so I am going to cast the Ruby. Wait, no. Yeah, okay, so we'll cast the Ruby. And then we have Wish, so we can turn this into a Piff loop, it looks like. Cast without paying mana cost. Cast without paying mana cost. Another Pyretic. Wish is a good hit. I'm gonna Ren's Resolve first here. Hit another Ren's Resolve, so that's pretty good. Our graveyard is super stocked for a potential Past in Flames. Here I'm gonna make blue. I think they're not really gonna be likely to be able to deal with our graveyard in the main deck, although definitely something to be a little bit more concerned about post sideboard. And we just naturally drew the Past in Flames, which is nice. I'm thinking we should maybe have one Pact of Negation in this for situations where we don't want to necessarily go out of our way to cast Silence, but if like we have the extra Wish up, that's good. And Preordain. We just kind of have everything at this point. I'm gonna bottom both of these. Another Ruby is fine. We have 20. We'll Past in Flames. Desperate Ritual. Pop out the graveyard. Pyretic Ritual. Pyretic Ritual. Manamorphose. Can add blue and then white maybe. And maybe I will actually go for a Silence here just to make sure that there's no sort of nonsense that can happen. And then we'll go with the Grape Shot for 28. Do a whole bunch of clicking. And they scoop it up. All right. So we are up a game over mono white, maybe like Martyr Energy. I feel like it is probably Martyr. I'm expecting like hate permanents, so I'm thinking Flood Maws. I don't mind cutting like one Piff. We could cut, I don't know if we need the Strike It Rich as much. Although, yeah, I don't know if we need the Strike It Rich as much. Flame seems good. We could cut like one land on the draw. No, I don't know if I want to cut a land. Could cut one Flame. Maybe we cut like one Preordain. Maybe we just cut 2 Preordain. And go like this. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Pyroclasm can remain as a wish target. Although There's an argument to be made for bringing it in, because are we really going to wish for the Pyroclasm? We have Gigantha to reveal. We have a hand that is not that good. I mean, having Ral plus Piff is nice, but 5 lands is really not good. Even with Surveil lands, I think this is just going to be something we send back. We need some sort of business, and I mean, maybe this is a deck where I can like wait till turn 5 and just kind of slow play it, but I don't know, and on the draw, I'm less inclined to do that. Even if we get another card. On the play, I still don't think I'd keep this, but it's a little bit closer, maybe. Maybe. Maybe not. Alright, so we're gonna mulligan. This is worse because we have no lands. Our opponent did also mulligan to 6, so that is something. But we definitely have to go to 5 here. Flood Maw. Alright, so this we will keep. I'm going to send away Ral and Wish, I think. This is the thing that starts me comboing quickest, and I'm keeping Ruby over Ral, because even though in white they could certainly have Artifact and Enchantment Destruction, I'm a little bit more concerned about the Solitudes. Like, do I think they're playing more Artifact and Enchantment Destruction than like creature removal? I don't think so. Although, you know, if it goes to a game 3, I'm open to changing my mind on that. Do I want a mountain? I think I actually no, I'm gonna get rid of the mountain, because I don't necessarily want to just play this Ruby on 2. So I was thinking about, like, you know, that does guarantee we hit a 3rd land, but I don't think we need to worry so much about that. Maybe when it has a Rest in Peace. Okay, so I mean, we have Flood Maw for a reason. We pick up Flame of Anor. So I think I am going to play the Steam Vents here, and then play the, well, obviously I'm playing the Steam Vents, but I think I am going to play the Ruby here. So the chances that we win next turn with Wren's plus the Flame of Anor as a draw 2 are, I think, reasonably high. But I need to be starting the turn with the Ruby in play. If I don't start with the turn with the Ruby in the play, even if I draw another land, it's like Ritual Wren's Resolve, but then I don't have the blue mana. So being able to Ritual off the Parlor and then have the blue mana, I think I value highly enough, and I'm willing to risk this Ruby getting blown up. We're not completely out of the game if it doesn't get, or if it does get blown up, because we get to just like play a Wren's Resolve, maybe make another land drop, hopefully play Flame of Anor and slow play it. So we're just going to play it and pass. If we knew we had like 2 lands coming up, I would probably hold this back, and then we could play land and then try and go from there. But try and get in under whatever they're doing, maybe. One white could be a creature. Hopefully, I mean, the thing I'd most like to see is like a, okay, they have Martyr of Sands, but they're pitching Martyr of Sands. Oh, it's March of Endless Light, right? Yeah, okay, all right. They do get our Ruby. And then to get rid of a Martyr for it, though, we kind of 2-for-1'd them, so that's not bad. They have 3 cards left. They missed a land drop. We missed a land drop as well, but maybe we'll hit it off of a Wren's Resolve here. We don't. The Piff is kind of useless there. I will play the Ruby next turn, basically no matter what. We're kind of in the same spot we were just in, potentially, although with the Piff potentially exiled if we don't get to go for it next turn, and I don't think we're likely to. We've got Disrupt or Flute. Oh, are they going to name Ruby? Like, they probably will. They do. All right, well, we're, I mean, we have the option of ritualing up to the Ruby. Actually, no, we don't. Only if we draw land, and we'd have to burn both the rituals on it, which I don't particularly like. We have a Steam Vents. So now we could ritual Ruby, but I don't know. That feels... Well, okay. Essentially what I'd be doing in that spot is I'd be trading 2 rituals for the Disruptor Flute. I'm willing to have 2 rituals in exile to have this Ruby in play. Okay, well, this is happening no matter what. I shouldn't have shocked necessarily. Well, if I should have decided if I was shocking more so. Yeah, I think I'm willing to burn 2 rituals to have the reducer in play, and then just try and play a grindier game with the Flame and the Ren's Resolve. The fact that they're naming Ruby with Flute makes me think they don't have another answer to it. Because if they had another answer to it, they would have played it. As for like going down cards, I'm kind of going down cards, or they wouldn't have played Flute on the Ruby if they had another answer, is what I mean. And as for going down cards, I would kind of be going down the card either way. I could think about it as I went like 2 for 1 against this Flute with my 2 rituals, but I would have been getting 1 for 0'd if I just passed and didn't play anything off of that Ren's Resolve. So I'm losing a card either way, and this way I end up with a Ruby in play, and the other way I don't, so I like this better, I think. We'll play Bloodstained Mire. I'm going to play it before the Ren's Resolve and then fetch to Thin. Our opponent did find a 3rd land, and then they have a pile of Squadron Hawks in hand. We hit a Ritual, which is not the greatest. Tarn we can play next turn. I'm just going to pass and leave up the ability to end step draw with the Flame of Anor. I don't think I'm very likely to win here now, so I'd rather try to go for it next turn. I understand, obviously, I could have waited to play the land until after the Ren's Resolve, but I valued the thinning from the fetch more than I valued the slightly or the chance at hitting like land and wanting to play it. It's not the best Ren's Resolve, because if we don't really get to make use of this ritual next turn, it's kind of bad. We're probably going to draw another land at some point along the way, so it's almost like it was a 0 for 1. Hawk is hitting us. I mean, if Squadron Hawk is the best thing that they had last turn, I feel hopefully okay, although they did just unlock their 3rd land, but they didn't play a 3-drop, so the question is, what do they have besides 3 Squadron Hawks? Maybe they have like a Martyr? Another tap land. Then they've got another Squadron Hawk. Okay, that's fine. I can't search for any more Hawks because they are all gone. And here we will Flame of Anor and draw 2. And we hit another Ritual, which is pretty bad. Ral is also really not what we need here. If I am going to play him, I think... No, there's no reason to play him yet. Yeah, I mean, and this Past in Flames is, or this Pyretic is just going to be in exile anyway, so it's just pass and hope we, well, we'll go for a Surveil land with the Tarn. And we're looking for, you know, cards that draw cards. Preordain would be a good draw. Hopefully they have, is it the Ring? Okay, Witch Enchanter. Okay, so they're blowing up our Ruby. All right, not the worst. They do have 2 Squadron Hawks. We do have the Ral, so again, it's not catastrophic to lose the Ruby, although if they have Solitude as one of their cards, and that's a card they could definitely have, that would be a little bit bad for us. We're also starting to get under a little bit more of a clock. This is 4 damage a turn, which at the moment is going to be a 3-turn clock. If they hit us for 4 and then play 2 Hawks, though, it's 6. So that could be a 2 if we take even 1 more damage from any other source. We'll probably be playing this tapped unless we're trying to combo on that turn. And we also don't want to get hit too low because then Ral becomes a problem. So I think it's likely we are going to have to go, not necessarily on our turn. I think we can pass 1 more time probably. I mean, there's always the risk they have more hate, but if they don't, like, I think the turn after our next is when we would likely have to go for it, kind of no matter what, just based on the Ral damage. Opponent is thinking on our Surveil. Not really sure what they would be thinking on our Surveil for. What is, I think we've lost 3 rubies already. No, only 2 rubies. Okay. So even with the 2 rituals in hand, I mean, it would be nice in some ways in that we are closer to flipping Ral, but it's not enough on its own. Look, we've had a little bit of a rough time drawing. I mean, we've drawn a bunch of cards. We're down to 40 cards in our deck, and we've got, okay, Flame of Anor. That's good. We take that. The question is, do we go for it here? I could destroy the Disruptor Flute and draw 2. What do I think the chances are that Ral just kind of immediately dies? Do I want to pass, draw an end step, and then just have a little bit more mana next turn? I could do that. Just like have slightly better odds next turn. Then I don't have the ability to kill the flute, which might be relevant if there's a solitude that happens. So if I Ral, Flame, I have 2 mana left over, potentially Ritual up to 4. 1 extra card from the draw step would be really nice. Be taking 4 down to 7. I think I'm going to pass 1 more turn. I think there's a reasonably high chance we fizzle here. I think we stand to gain a somewhat high number of percentage points by waiting a turn, getting an extra card, and potentially using this flame on end step. So I'm willing to risk like another hate piece here. I mean, given we knew 2 out of the 4 cards in their hand were Squadron Hawks, and then the best they had last turn was Witch Enchanter, which is not bad. Like, it blew up our Ruby, but you know. And I think they have Solitude as one of their cards in hand also, so I don't necessarily want to go there into the Solitude. Expect Hawk, although I'm not sure. And if they drew something else, then they drew something else, but Hawk is okay, that's fine. They gain 2 life. That doesn't matter at all. I guess, yeah, they've got, yeah, another land. And the question here is, are they going to play another Hawk? Looks like maybe. Yeah, they are. Okay, so then we have Hawk, 2 unknowns. I suspect one of them is Solitude. Could be more lands. See if they play a land here. They don't. Okay, so I am gonna draw 2 here. I know I don't get to blow up the flute, but I think I'd rather save the mana. And that's bad. That's really bad. Draw for turn, it's a Pyretic Ritual. So now we are what I would call dead. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In theory, we could not be dead. I could play the Ral and plan to use it as a blocker. And if they Solitude it, then I gain a life and I still do get to fetch. It's looking pretty bad though. Okay, so they are Solituding it, which we expected. So then they're going to hit us for 1, 2, 3, 4. What did they pitch? Did they pitch a hawk? They pitched. They got rid of Sun Scour, so we know they have a hawk as the last card in their hand. So we gain 1 up to 8. Not interested in trying to flip the Ral there. The life gain I think is actually more important. And we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down to 2. Our fetch will put us down at 1. And, you know, if they miss on the draw, then we get to try to spike some sort of card that does something. Pyroclasm would potentially be an interesting thing if we could, like, Pyroclasm and, you know, we hit a couple wishes and we, like, Pyroclasm and, oh, wait. Does Pyroclasm hit flying? I don't even know. It's been so long since I've actually played that card. Occasionally, I think I played it, like, a couple times in Legacy Storm's sideboard. Martyr, okay. They have some life gain. That's not really a big deal. And they're going to play Squadron Hawk, I guess? Oh, they're using it. They've gained 3 life, and now they're going to play a Squadron Hawk. Sure. Alright, so we're going to fetch. We don't have another Surveil land, so we're just going to get a basic. We're going to do this before our draw step, just to thin. So we have all of our... No, there's still a mountain. I think the mountain is in... Yeah, the mountain's in exile. Draw for turn. But we have all of our mana-producing lands otherwise. Well, we've got Metamorphose. That's a start. And that's going to be it. All right. So, basically what we thought they were playing with, like, a Martyr type of deck. Do I want the Pyroclasm in the deck? I don't think I do. I think I'd still prefer to leave it as a sideboard target. Do I want a Preordain back in? Could play it over. I mean, Flood Maw was good. I'm actually not convinced I need the full 4 Flood Maw, though, because while they did have hate, it was hate that we could kind of play through. We can kind of ignore some of that hate. So maybe we go 3 Flood Maw and then 3 Preordain. And now here's where we get hated out of the game, but, you know, that's how it goes. Yeah, I don't want to cut the Valakut Awakening. Alright, so we'll be on the play. We will companion our Jegantha. Oh, we had the Jegantha we could have companioned. I completely forgot about that last time. Yeah, I'm not a Jegantha player. Alright, I'm going to keep this. We have Preordain. Yeah, I don't think it would have made the difference, but it could have bought us some time. Maybe it could have done something. Yeah, that would have been an excellent game for Jegantha, but I mean, maybe it would have gotten solituded. Then our Ral lives. Solitude would have been 5 life. So here we lead on Thundering Falls. Turn 2, we've got the mountain. Opponent has mulled to 6. Could also play Valakut on 2 if we feel like we need to. We do need to find a reducer, but other than that, I like a lot of what's happening here. Pyretic? Yeah, I'll take a Pyretic. I do need a ritual. And then I'm probably going to play the Preordain first, and depending on what I see off of the Preordain, either play the Valakut or the mountain. Flood Maw, again, not bad to have in hand if they have like a Rest in Peace or something. It's a little bit awkward in that I lose my setup cards, but I can at least keep the things that are like useful during the combo. They are leading on a tap land. So like I said, we'll Preordain first. Ruby and Ral. I think I am interested in probably both of those. And then we are gonna play the Valakut Awakening as a land. We potentially get to go next turn if they like do something somewhat inconsequential. We have Mountain, Ruby, Ritual, Ral, or no, Ritual, Morphos, Ral, Piff, Ritual, Morphos, Preordain. decent chances at flipping the Ral. Is there a way I can fit Flood Maw into that? I don't think so. Okay, so they have Damping Sphere. All right, I hope that's just their hate, and then we can Ruby, and so the destroy thing is a 4. Although they could have March. I'm going to play the Ruby. We leave up Flood Maw. Depending on what they do, we probably Flood Maw the Damping Sphere. And we go for it next turn. The chances for like Flood Mawing and then Ritual Ruby Morphos are so low that I'm not willing to take the risk on that. A lot of like trying to be too aggressive can result in fizzling. Okay, so they have Ocelot Pride. And then they probably can't play another thing. Unless they have like land and then another 1-drop. So Shocking in Razorgrass. Is it another Ocelot Pride? Hopefully they just tap out for 1-drop. That's what we want to see. March would be bad, and this is feeling a little bit like a March. I mean, if they do March, we do at least get to Flood Maw and then Ral, Ritual, Morphos, Piff, Ritual, Morphos. Yeah, it's a March. Okay, so they kill our Ruby. Now, if they have Solitude, that's going to get us. What are the chances, though, that their last 2 cards are Solitude and a white card? Opponent can have a tapped fish. Surely it's not Solitude and a white card. Surely it's not. Okay, they seem to have F6'd. That's very good. So Tails, I would not like to use Ral's ability yet. Ritual. Tails. On the flip. No. That's spell number 2. Morphos. Tails. Lost the flip. We'll add red and blue. We have a Mire, which we could fetch with. I'm not going to fetch with it yet. I could get a Surveillant and potentially surveil something into the yard, but I think I'd rather get an untapped land and just have an extra mana. So this is spell number 4. And then we can fetch with this. I'm going to fetch a Steam Vents. The life total isn't going to matter. And here we're going to Pyretic, Hold Priority, Desperate, so that both of these triggers are 6 spells. Now we can flip. Let me just double check on the count of that. It's Morphos, Ritual, Ritual, Piff, Ritual, Ritual. So yes, we would flip. Did we win? All right, so we don't want to use the ability there. That happens. We flash back the Preordain. Ritual and Preordain. I'm going to top both of these, but draw the Preordain so that I know I'm hitting the Ritual with the Ral minus, because that's like a good card that I want to hit. Get to cast some more Rituals. Get to cast this Wish. Get to cast a Reckless Impulse. We hit another Reckless Impulse and a Flood Maw. We will cast Bouncing the Ocelot Pride for free. We have a Preordain that we can cast in our hand. And we can bottom both of these. We pick up a Ral. It's an excellent one. We've got a Reckless Impulse. We will use his ability. Flip Ral again. 2 more cards gone. I'm not going to play him yet. We're going to minus again. We do just have Grape Shot here. Might as well secure the or use the silence first in case they have like a Mind Break trap or something crazy. There's no way, but. And then we've got the Grape Shot for 20. The second Grape Shot. All right, so pretty good game. Our opponent kind of had a lot of different things. They had the March, the Damping Sphere, but we lined up Flood Maw well, and we kept the second reducer, which was pretty key there. All right, so we are up around with Ruby Storm. Felt pretty good. Our opponent, I'm not sure what they're playing. Is this like a brew of their own, or is this something that someone has been playing? It's kind of a cool idea to like fuse energy with Martyr, but you know, we got there. All right, next round. All right, so we are on the play, revealing our Jegantha that we totally aren't gonna forget about this time. Ooh. I mean, if we draw a second land, this hand is pretty explosive. We have 15 other lands in the deck. So it's about a little worse than 1/3 of our deck is lands. Preordain is not helpful here. Strike It Rich would be. So, all right, yeah, so about 1/3 of our deck is either lands or the singleton Strike It Rich. We have one draw to hit it, and if we miss, you know, maybe it's still okay on turn 3, but so what is my chances of drawing one within 2 draws? So I said I'm about 1/3, so 2/3 by 2/3, about 4/9. So we are a little over 50%. There are matchups where this is just an unplayable bad hand, though. I think this is too likely to lose the game just by not playing. So it's close to 50% to get to play, but then I guess like a single, well, the single Thoughtseize doesn't necessarily wreck us. On the play, oh, it's so tempting. The 4 out of 9 math is, I've lost a bunch of games to the 4 out of 9 math. All right, I'm going to be disciplined and mulligan it. I think there's a reasonable argument to be made for keeping that, though. I'm going to keep this, send away one of the Rowls. This is a little bit better because we do have the Preordain. We also have the Thundering Falls, which helps look for another land. So we get extra looks. I can't keep that because I need to find a land. Swamp Thoughtseize would be kind of the scariest thing. Okay, our opponent is playing Tiny Bones. What does this even do? Combat damage player cast target non-land permanent from that player's graveyard and mana of any type can be spent to cast the spell. Alright, sure. I mean, it's a little bit annoying, but it could be a lot worse. Do I want both of these? I think I do. I'm going to put this on top. I'm going to put this on top. And then I'm going to play the Elegant Parlor. And I'm going to leave that on top. And then I'm going to pass. I mean, they do get to cast our Preordain, which is pretty annoying. Oh, wait, no, non-land permanent. Never mind. That's like irrelevant. So they do have Thoughtseize. They can take one of our reducers. If they take the Ruby, I'm reading that as they have removal for Ral. So I guess it's like Necro playing Tiny Bones. Probably we land, hold up Flame of Anor, and pass. Draw on the end step and then go the turn after. Although depending on what they do, maybe there's a chance we try and go next turn. And they're thinking. There's a reasonable case to be made for take Ritual also. Okay, so they take Ral. Interesting. Oh, they're gonna cast it? No. Oh, they're not. Okay. I mean, it doesn't really matter if they cast it. We go to our turn. We have a Scalding Tarn. I think black is not really going to be able to do anything about a Ruby in play, so I'm playing the Ruby. Now the question here is, how much do we go? I think we don't. I think we wait. I could also end step Morphos Flame, draw a bunch of cards. Lotus Bloom. Lotus Bloom? Our opponent is cooking with something. They get to play a Ral. Lotus Bloom. Interesting. And they're playing the ring. That's fine. I guess they're trying to, like, fog towards some sort of big card. I'm gonna fetch. We can get a tapped Steam Vents. I'm not gonna go for the Morphos Flame play. So here, I mean, I can cycle. Yeah, all right. I can cycle the Morphos. We can add red, blue, red. Okay, good. I was hoping I didn't mess that up. I'm going to draw 2 here. We draw some lands. So that's going to probably be passing the turn. Unless I really want to try and get lucky with this Morphos. All right, I am going to try and get lucky with the Morphos. I'm going to go red. Got a Reckless Impulse. Got a Wish. Okay, we're in business. Pyretic. We have 5 mana. Wish is... Although, hang on, this is a bit of a problem. So Wish takes us down to 3 mana, so Piff doesn't quite work with 1 mana off. We could empty for 14. I don't like that as much as just Galvanic Relay. So I'm going to go for Galvanic Relay. And just get a new hand. They tick down. I do like that this hand is resistant to discard. We've got, what do we have? We have, I can't tell what exactly, okay, that's my graveyard. Oh, that's my graveyard. That's the exile. Okay, so exile, I've got Flame, Piff, Ruby, Preordain, Foothills, Medallion, Morphos. So not that much mana, but I do have the ability to make something happen with Morphos Piff. Also, Preordain and Flame can potentially find me more mana, so that's not bad. The revealed cards don't matter. But they got another ring. We can beat that with Thassa's Oracle. We do have the relay in our yard. Drawing again. I don't really expect like surgical main deck or anything like that out of them. So this is our exile that we can play. So we need to beat the ring, which is totally fine and totally something we can do. We're going to fetch, get a mountain. We can lead on a Morphos, and we'll go red, red. So now if, okay, so I have 6 mana. Piff would be 3. I can Preordain first. So I'm going to do that. Hit a Ren's Resolve. I don't know if I need that. Gonna Morphos. We'll go red, blue. Another Ruby. I'm gonna Preordain again. Bottom and bottom. And we've got 5 mana. So Piff will take me down to... I know I could play the Reckless first, but it kind of doesn't matter at this point. Got Desperate. We've got a bunch of Morphoses. We have Pyretic. Morphos. We can go blue. We've got Wish, so maybe before that happens, I'll play one of these other rubies. Got more Morphoses to play. Red, red. Another Piff. Another Morphos. I do need to be a little bit careful to save my last Morphos to make sure I have double blue for the Oracle. Which shouldn't be a concern, but just something to be a little bit careful with. Reckless Impulse. We have a Ral. That's pretty good. Though we don't actually have more mana, so I do want to be a little bit careful there. I could Valakut Awakening, and I think I probably will hit mana. I'll put these 5 on the bottom. Yeah, and we hit all of the mana. We do also have the Strike It Rich for filtering to blue. We splice the Desperate, Pyretic, Desperate, Strike It Rich, flashback the Strike It Rich, Friends Resolve. We just have everything. Could play a Ral. We could relay away the rest of our deck. Let me just play some more wishes first. Could play Wish. Could play Ral because might as well. We have more foes that we can play here now. We'll name Tails. Lost the flip. Okay. I'm going to go blue and white. Does this Wish have flashback? No, it does not. Okay. So I'm going to silence. We are going to flashback relay to exile the rest of our deck. And then we're going to flashback Wish. Cast 2 wishes here at least. Did we cast 2 wishes? I really hope we did. We do have flashback Piff if we need to. Lost the flip. We're exiling a whole bunch of stuff to relay. I just want to pass till the stack is empty. Don't want to Flame of Anor ourselves. Okay, we do still have the ability to cast stuff from our board, so we do still have the Oracle. I was thinking, have we cast 3 wishes yet? Because there's the there was the wish to get the Piff. I know. What did we wish for the first one? Okay, so now we've got Oracle. And that's the game. Okay, so we are up a game over mono black with Lotus Bloom. Not exactly sure what that represents. I don't think Necro is playing Lotus Bloom. Silence is interesting against Lotus Bloom in that it turns it off. Strike It Rich, I think I'm not as into. Expect Grave Hate. I'm going to bring in some Flood Maws. I guess I'm bringing in... No, I don't think it's worth bringing in the 1 silence even for that, even with them on the play. Flood Maw can double as like hate for them. So what might they have? They could have like a Leyline, but really they're just going to probably have discard. So, I mean, the Preordains, the Flame of Anor, and all of my like card draw is really the thing I'm like most into. What's my 1 cut? I could cut 1 wish maybe. 2 wish does feel a little bit light. I could cut 1 ritual. Don't know if I like that much. Could cut 1 Ral. Don't know if I like that against the discard deck that much. Don't want to cut a flame. Don't want to cut another Piff. Maybe I cut 1 Ral. Because, like, what are the chances that they can deal with a Ruby that's in play? I think probably close to none if they're mono black. How do I feel about this? Yeah, we'll keep this. We have a bunch of card draw, pretty resilient against discard. We have land Preordain, and if they discard us, we can get a Surveil land. So we have pretty good chances at finding our second land. Chain a couple reducers or chain a couple Friends Resolves and go off of that. Opponent has mulligan to 4. I feel like they're looking for Leyline of the Void with that. Or they're some sort of combo, but I don't know what exactly would be playing Lotus Bloom plus Ring and Adnals. They're thought seizing us. Oh, they thought seized themselves, and they took a Void Winnower. Lock and okay, do they have some sort of reanimation? That's interesting. Ruby is good. I'm gonna go Steam Vents, pay 2, and then Preordain. Can't afford to keep either of these when we need a land. Parlor is sort of a land. Question is, what do they have here? Oh, they have Persist. Okay, so we do need to find one of our... we have to find... What's it called? Flood Maw immediately. Otherwise, we're just dead. That's not going to do it. All right, it just has to be Flood Maw off the top. I guess it could be land off the top. No, because Preordain, no. Yeah, so most of our mana costs are 2. So Mountain, Flame of Anor, but we're dead on the swing. We'll definitely be bringing in the 4th Flood Maw. But they had a, they got the turn 2 Persist with that. Oh, well, we could have hoped that they'd click through combat, but no, we are in fact dead. All right, that was speedy. I want Strike It Rich. I think I still don't. I do want the 4th Flood Maw if that's like the main point of. But why are they playing Lotus Bloom? And then the Ring? I guess they're trying to hard cast the. Maybe some sort of fatty. This is a weird deck. All right. Yeah, we definitely want 4th Flood Maw. And then what are we cutting? Don't like cutting a ritual, but maybe it's cutting a pyretic. Just try and play like a control game. We will reveal our Gigantha. And how do we feel about this? I think this is a mulligan. 1 land, and we don't get to play unless we draw a 2nd land, and it's not even that explosive. This is a little bit better. I'm going to keep this and ditch... I think ditch the Piff. We basically have to hope we don't get Thought Seized on turn 1. Opponent has kept 7. They do Thought Seize us, we do get to Reckless Impulse and try and claw our way out. Oh, they're going to clean up and discarding. Okay. Go to our turn. Now, they're not going to be able to reanimate this on the 1st turn. So we're going to pass. I miss less words, but I don't really... There's no, like, Chrome Mox. There's no way they can get to, like, an Exhume. They're suspending a Lotus Bloom, playing a Stitcher Supplier. That's all fine. So we get a window next turn. I think it's almost guaranteed they have the Persist in hand. Pick up a Flood Maw, which would be good if, like depending on what. Okay, we hit Morphos, so I think we should just have it here probably. So here we're going to Morphos, blue, and red. Pick up a Steam Vents. Preordain is good. Bottom both of these. Friend's Resolve is also good. So we'll go red and red. Wish is decent. Shock in the Steam Vents. So if we Ren's Resolve, Past in Flames. Oh, we hit a Pyretic. We just have everything. We can go blue, red. We can do a Reckless Impulse. We hit a Ral. We're just hitting everything. Yes, please. Past in Flames. I'm going to actually burn the blue here, because I think we're not going to necessarily need it. So Past in Flames is happening. Got a Pyretic. Won the flip. We'll use Ral. We can keep casting some things out of our yard. There's a Desperate Ritual. There is a Morphos. We'll go blue, red. We've got the Ral, who I'm going to -8. Cast without paying mana cost. Cast a Ruby. That lets us cast a Wish. Flame of Anor is cast without paying mana cost. Draw 2 cards. Got a Morphos. We'll go for red. Red. Cast without paying mana cost. Get some rituals. Make a pile more mana. It's always fun to go off with Storm. Cast another Wish. I'm just going to filter a little bit into white to silence before I go for a win here. So we'll silence them. And then we are going to Grape Shot them for 25 or 26. All right. So pretty nice turn 3. Our opponent was threatening the kind of a turn 3 because they had to pass on 1 to discard to hand size. They're threatening the turn 1 Void Winnower. So Void Winnower Persist, definitely a cool idea. I'm not sure what the Lotus Blooms are doing. I guess they're to like cast the things if you miss on the Reanimate. It's a little bit of like the Atraxagorios sort of plan of like be able to cast your... No, is it... There's what is the reanimation? Oh, it's the Omniscience deck, the Shifting Woodlands Omniscience deck, where the backup plan is like cast your giant card if your opponent is shutting down the graveyard stuff. So I'm guessing that that's what's happening over here. Anyway, cool idea. Definitely got us in game 2, but we got there in game 3. So next round. All right, again, we are revealing our Jegantha that we're totally going to remember to use if we need it and not just forget about it. And we have a hand that's a little bit slow. Opponent is also a Jegantha deck. I think I'm actually going to mulligan this just for being too slow, potentially. Like, against energy on the draw, I don't think that this deck can turn into a win in time. I'm going to mulligan. This is, I think, a little bit better. So if we keep this... I do want to keep... I think... Maybe it's Send Back Flame, honestly. Yeah, I think it's Send Back Flame. And then it's go for a Surveil land on 1. Because we do sort of have the Ritual Morphos Piff loop. So if we can find a reducer, I think we're in reasonable shape. Is it? Okay, yeah, so it's Mardu Energy. When we pick up a Scalding Tarn, which is decent. Or not a... We pick up a Pyretic Ritual, which is like decent. It makes us more likely to combo if we actually do find a reducer. And so I'm just going to be like Surveil landing here, looking for a reducer. I will play the Impulse probably if they do not, if they don't, you know, disrupt me in some way. The other nice thing about our hand is it's somewhat insulated against Thoughtseize, especially after next turn if we play this Impulse. They've got an Ajani, so they have a clock, but, you know, I don't think they're going to turn 3 us. We do need to find a reducer. So here I'm going to fetch. I'm going to go for a Thundering Falls in case I draw a Preordain. And we do find Ral, so that's perfect. Now the question here to think about is, can we go for it this turn? So if we Ritual Ral, Ritual Morphos, Piff, Ritual Morphos, Impulse. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 spells. I think we're reasonably likely to flip Ral. And if we do flip Ral, I think we're in a reasonable spot to win. So I'm going to go for it here. It's rare that you actually want to go for the turn 2, but I think this is one of those times where it makes sense. So we won the flip. Would not like to use the ability. We can Morphos. More mana here would be like the best thing. Tails won the flip. Would not like to use it. We'll go red, red. Impulse. All right, so we can't really afford to use that yet. Tails won the flip. Would not like to use it. Ritual. Tails on the flip. No, so this is so that is, what is it? It's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so this is the 5th spell. So this would be the 6th spell, but what I could do is I could Impulse Ritual. Oh no, well, I could do 1 Impulse. So this would be 6th, and then I can... No, this... Yeah, okay. Maybe I'll Impulse Ritual Morphos and flip Ral here if I can. Lost the flip. Add red and I think we'll add a blue. Go tails. We won the flip. Okay, so we will flip Ral. 10 counters. Hit some mana. Tails. Lost the flip. Reckless Impulse happens. We hit a Pyretic, which we can cast. We'll exile the top 8. Get a pile of rituals and a Preordain. So we'll cast some of these. Annoyingly, we can't cast the Ral. Ruby Medallion and Valakut Awakening. Yeah, I do want the Ruby. The Valakut Awakening is also okay. Cycles, at least. So I'll keep both of these. We're going to play the Ruby. We're going to play the Pyretic. Play the Reckless Impulse. Now we have Wish. Play Wish. And now we can play the Valakut Awakening. Just for like 2. Put away the Wooded. Draw another Pyretic, because why not? Flash back the Past in Flames. And we do just have Grape Shot here. I don't think they're going to have the life gain to stop that, so let's just go ahead and Grape Shot them before we show the white mana. Not that we're going to really use the white mana against them. Actually, we maybe should have shown the white mana, because again, we're not going to board it in against them, and might make them think that we have sideboard cards that we don't actually have. So I'm expecting some form of hate permanent from them. So it's going to be 4 Flood Maws in. Could also think about bringing in the Pyroclasm, but I think that's more likely going to be a sideboard card. So with the 4 Flood Maws in, what are we sending out? Maybe a Past in Flames? Maybe not. Flame, maybe a little bit slow on the draw. We could trim a Flame. Trim a Preordain. Strike It Rich. Yeah, against discard Strike It Rich is pretty bad because it's like kind of not a card. Maybe we cut 1. Well, Past in Flames is pretty good against discard. Yeah, so maybe I do want to leave the Past in Flames. Maybe I actually trim a Wish. We go like this. Yeah, we'll go like this. And yeah, Flood Maw for any sort of Magebane Lizard or whatever they might have like that. You know, various hate type permanents. Reveal our Jegantha. They have also revealed a Jegantha. We have a hand that has no lands, so we're going to have to mull that. I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to ditch the Sacred Foundry. So we will get a Surveil land probably on turn 1, but maybe not. Depends on what happens here. Are they going to Thought Seize us, or is it going to be a creature? Getting rid of the Sacred Foundry because I don't have white cards, so it's just worse than Mountain. And they are leading on Godless Shrine, Ocelot Pride. Okay. So I have a ritual. That's not bad. So do I want to Preordain on 1? I think I actually do. Because I'm going to be a little bit choked on blue mana with this flame. So getting to spend my blue mana feels probably like something I want. Now, do I want Flood Maw is an interesting question. I don't want the Bloodstained Mire. It's basically the chances, do I think they have a hate permanent? And more specifically, do I think they have a hate permanent that Flame can't answer? So they did keep 7. That would suggest that there is something in their hand that I'm going to need to stop, so I am going to keep it. Like, if they had nothing that would answer, or that I would have to answer, then they probably would mull to 6. Maybe they just figure they have like a super fast aggro hand, but we'll see. We're faced with the interesting choice next turn of, do we play Ral and just let him sit out there? In other words, how much removal do I think that they might have? Taking the Flood Maw, I mean, we do also just get another card next turn, so maybe we get another card to play. Ruby or something, where we could just feel a little bit more confident about jamming a creature would be good. This feels like a Bowmasters. Especially with the second Ral, I'm just going to play the Ral. And if they Fatal Push it or something, then they don't get to play the Bowmasters that they're telegraphing here. And we just get to pass. I mean, he's also a decent blocker, holds him back a little bit. Flame, draw 2 is probably what's happening next turn, but we'll see. And maybe we try and go the turn after. We could go, definitely, depending on what they do, if we think we're under enough pressure, or if we like draw something good. What would be something good that would make us try to go? Manamorphose, I would at least cast the Manamorphose. Okay, sure. So that was on main phase. So they could definitely have more removal. I like that that's kind of taking out our Ral and not eating our graveyard in response. Oh, they're surgicaling Ral. Well, that's something. Yeah. Kind of bad that we have the second one in our hand in that case. So it's definitely going to get a little bit tougher here. Need to find Ruby. It's at least like cards that aren't increasing the clock on us or anything, although Ocelot Pride is definitely just a quick clock on its own. Surveil land, 3 left in hand. They left the 1 Ral in our yards, which is kind of interesting. It's not like we can get it back, but okay, so they're going to get another cat, go to our turn. We do pick up Past in Flames, so that is good. We're going to just draw on end step with the Flame. Although, if they're telegraphing Bowmasters, maybe we actually just draw now. Yeah, I'm just going to draw now. I mean, if they have Thoughtseize, this is worse, but if they have Bowmasters, this is better. I feel like they had... No, but they didn't flash it in, so they don't have Bowmasters. They just didn't do anything there. I don't know why they didn't... I guess they drew Thraben Charm for the turn. What were they holding up on? I guess they were... Yeah. It's weird that they wouldn't play Thraben Charm if they had it. They should have end-stepped the Thraben Charm. So Thraben Charm was their draw, but then the question is, what were they holding up the 2 mana for? Maybe they just had nothing? They had like 3 drops? Like, I expected Bowmasters. Bowmasters is like not that good against Storm, but... Alright, so they're going to make another cat. Ocelot Pride continues to be annoying. They're passing back to us. We have a ritual. So I think there's a point where we try and go for Bearless, but it's not now. How much mana do we have? We have 4. We could splice 6, 7. Guide of Souls is fine. This is going to hit us down to 7. Question here is, am I going to play a Flood Maw? I don't think so. I don't see a reason to play it yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If they play a creature first, they could potentially get us, but there's a world where we could like pass the turn and live here. So if we play the Tarn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If they make a creature big, like they play a creature, they make a creature big, we then bounce the big creature, take 5, get a Surveil, go down to 1, and then probably have to go bearless next turn. Versus this turn, if we try and go bearless, we have 4, 5. Splice takes me up to 7. Another ritual to 8. Piff down to 4. 5, 6, 7. Preordain 6. Plus 2 cards from Morphos. Plus Flame would take me down to 3. That's not enough to kill. They could have an Ajani. They could have a bolt on end step. So if they bolt us, we are just dead. What are the chances they have bolt? I think not that high. They would have used it on the Ral if they had it. If they drew it more recently, but they would have played the guide if they had it on 2. So they've drawn, and they drew the Thraben Charm on that turn. That means they drew the guide the next turn, like their last turn. So the 4 cards they still have in their hand, well, it's potentially that they have 2 mana interaction, or else it's that they have, and like maybe they had the guide but didn't play it to hold up 2 mana interaction. Not exactly sure what that would be, because again, I think it's likely that they drew the Thraben Charm on their turn because it was more mana efficient to use it on end step. This is a little bit tough. So the question is basically like, what do we burn here? I guess if I burn the Morphos and things go wrong, nothing really, it doesn't really hurt too badly because I can just do the same thing the next turn. So I'm going to Morphos here first. We'll go red, red. Draw another Flood Maw. So, I mean, that's pretty bad. I think I'm going to pass. Take one more shot at, making something happen maybe. Hope that they don't have the bolt. And then, like, if they go for creatures, I potentially have double Flood Maw if I really need it. Okay, so they're not doing anything crazy there. Okay, I'm going to Flood Maw the Ocelot Pride. So this is going to do 5, taking me down to 2. And if they have Bowmasters here, they also could get us. They have Goblin Bombardment. Okay, sure. Yeah, so, I mean, if they had that in hand, I don't know why they wouldn't have played it on 2. If they had Guide, they would have played it on 2. Feels like they would have had it... It feels like they had to draw Runner, 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 Charm, Guide, Cavern, because I don't know what they would have... Like, otherwise, why are they passing on 2? Unless they just click through their turn. Do I like keeping everything as is? I think so. I think this is just fine. The extra Flood Maws were not great, but I mean, they can have hate, and if they do, then we're going to want to have them, so. All right. So we've revealed our Gigantha. We have a pretty good hand. We have this. The only kind of bad thing is the 2 Past in Flames, but having the Flood Maw is nice. 2 lands, the Ritual, Ral is all good. We need to find some business, some card draw, but we are going to keep it. We can lead on a Surveil, and then turn 2, probably another Surveil. Thoughtseize on Ral would be a little bit unfortunate. Note, Flood Maw can't bounce our own Ral in the face of removal, so that's a little bit awkward. And this is already effectively a Mold of 6, but like it's a pretty good 6. Has an Answer to the Hate, has like pieces of our combo. I would just like if there was some card draw in it. Even like a Preordain I would take, but really like a Ren's Resolve or something would be best. Opponent has mulligan to 5. So we are going to pass with this Mire and then see what they have. This feels like they have a hate permanent that they are going to try and play on turn 2. Surveilling away a land, okay. So their issue is not mana. We're going to get the Thundering Falls to have the blue. I think I don't need that. Valakut Awakening is kind of interesting. I'm just going to play this, and do I play the Ral or do I wait on another Surveil? I mean, they don't have any creatures. I think I'm actually going to play the Ral. It's like, what? Yeah, the Thriving Charm isn't going to do anything here. Although obviously they can hold it up for our graveyard, but yeah, I'm going to play the Ral. Just get it on the table. If things go wrong, maybe I like Valakut Awakening, like Piff plus whatever. But if they have like a hate thing, I'd probably rather have the Ral in play. And they have Damping Sphere, okay. Yeah, so we expected some form of hate. We could... Okay, Ritual. So that's kind of interesting. So we could Flood Maw, Ritual, Piff, Ritual, Valakut. Probably flip the Ral. We do get a little bit blown out by a Surgical. But I think it's high enough likelihood that I'm willing to risk this here. Don't want to flip yet, obviously. We can lead on Desperate. Lost the flip. Opponent has F6, I think. That's third spell. Won the flip. Don't want to flip yet. Cast in Flames. Down to 2. Fourth spell. Lost the flip. If has happened. So now I'm going to double Ritual, hold priority, Ritual, so both of them get me to 6 spells. So now I have 2 shots at flipping. Lost the flip. Lost the flip. Bad. That's not what we need. Now it's got to be Valakut Awakening. Lost the flip. Not what we need at all. Hit a Ral. Hit an Elegant Parlor. It's got to be just Pass in Flames and hope we hit the 50-50, which is really not the spot we want to be in. Won the flip. Okay. Use the ability. So unfortunately that Pass in Flames is gone. We do have flashback on Valakut Awakening. Good, -8 on the Ral. What did we hit? We hit some mana. So we'll go all red, I think. I don't think we need the blue. Drew another Ral. All of that can be cast without paying, so the Wish is very good. We can play another Ral here. And I'm going to try and flip him with some of these Reckless Impulses. Lost the flip. So there's a Ren's Resolve and a Reckless Impulse in play. But this Pyretic can be played using the Ral's reduction first. So let's do that. Lost the flip. Play a Reckless Impulse. Lost the flip. Okay, sure. Another Pyretic that I'll play. I can play this Bloodstained Mire. Our opponent has scooped it up because we can get to the Grape Shot. So that is round number 3 over Mardu. They had the turn 2 Damping Sphere. We had the answer, and then we had a... things go kind of wrong, but then they went pretty right. We won that 50-50 at the end, which was huge, but it wasn't really a 50-50 because we had like I think 3 or maybe even 4 flips before that we lost. So you know, that's if it was 3 50 and then that's 25 12.5. So we would have had to lose, I think, at bare minimum 4 in a row to lose. Obviously the Ral could have bricked, but like to not flip the Ral, we would have had to lose at bare minimum 4 in a row, which is like 6.25%. So we were like 93.75 to flip the Ral there. So it's a good thing we eventually did, even though it was a bit of a nail biter. All right, round number 4, 3-0 so far. Okay, so we are on the draw here. Our opponent has also revealed a Jegantha. We have a hand here that I think is pretty good. We do need to draw a second land. I think I'm going to keep it. Just play the tapped Steam Vents on 1. And I mean, Preordain also counts. I would also accept Strike It Rich. So it's a little bit risky with like needing to draw the second land, but I think this hand has high enough upside as far as like winning in a timely fashion. Also potentially a turn 2, which we might need to go for if our opponent is also on Storm. Another Ral is not what we need. Although, yeah, this is not the best shot at a turn 2, right? It looks like our opponent is on Storm. They could be Energy, but Energy usually wants to like play a 1-drop, not Surveil land on 1. So like, I don't know if Energy's keeping a hand that their best play is Surveil on 1. But especially in the blind on the play. And maybe they have like a Johnny and then like, I don't know, some 2-drops, Amped Raptor or Johnny or something. Maybe they have like next turn, whatever the energy land is, Aether Hub and then Raptor. Okay, they put Orcish Bowmaster, so it is energy. So we do need to hit a land. But if we can hit a land, I mean, we're in pretty good shape. But them shipping Bowmasters is good for us, I think. Well, is it? Because it means they don't, maybe they don't have a black source. This feels like, I guess, either a Johnny or Amped. Our hand is kind of bad against Bowmasters. They have Goblin Bombardment. Okay, that's fine. We have Scalding Tarn. So we could play Ral here. And, you know, presumably Ral is going to meet some sort of unfortunate end, but then we get to try and go off next turn. We could try to go here. So if we try and go here, we Ritual Ral, Morphos, Reckless Flame. That feels not that likely to work. So I think I like Mountain, Ral, pass. And again, like if they have removal for this, then I have the other Ral. I don't think they're that likely to have like removal plus Thoughtseize, especially given they have no black source yet and they've been to Bowmasters, suggesting they maybe don't have access to black mana. Because if they had access to black mana, they would have kept this Bowmasters and played it over Bombardment, because Bombardment's kind of an anemic turn 2 play. And if we untap with this Ral, the upside is like very high and that we're like exceedingly likely to win versus trying to go on the same turn and being a little less likely. So they're going for Raptor. And what do they hit? They hit Fatal Push. Okay, so they do get to push our Ral. That's like kind of good for them. They're shocking in a Sacred Foundry. And actually that's pretty good for them. It's like maybe one of the best things they could have drawn in hindsight. But we do draw a Ruby Medallion, so I'm pretty happy just playing that. And then passing, giving them one more turn here. And then try and go with that next turn. Again, I don't really want to go in the same turn here because I think our odds just go down by enough that it's worth the wait. In game 1, in game 2 or game 3, we could maybe reevaluate because there's a chance that they there's a chance that like more hate cards could come in, but in game 1 I think it's worth the risk. So we're gonna take a hit from the Raptor. If they get 3 creatures in play, they can potentially shoot a Ral that we're playing, but they're just passing? What do they have in their hand that they're passing? This is like the most controlling energy draw I feel like I've ever seen. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna go here. Ritual. We're gonna Reckless Impulse. We hit a Piff, that's not bad, and the Scalding Tarn. So I'm gonna fetch with the Tarn now, save or thin the deck a little bit. Now we've got 4 mana, so we could, and we've played 2 spells. We can Morphose. My goal is to play the Ral right before it's relevant. So they're Bloodstained Miring. Do they have a Bowmasters is a question here. Feels like maybe. I mean, we're not going to draw enough cards where we like really care about Bowmasters. They do have 3 creatures here now to potentially sacrifice to a Ral, so if we have another instant to respond to a Ral with, that would be better. So we'll make red. We still have the blue from Steam Vents if we need it. They do get to shoot us with the Bowmaster's trigger. So that's spells 1, 2, 3. Morphos would be 4. Okay, they're sacking the Orc. They're making another Orc. So if I play Ral, then I play Piff. I'd like to get the Morphos in the yard first. I think I'm willing to take the damage to do that. I do need to be careful to not like die to whatever they're doing. The bombardment, yeah, so sacking, they're gonna get another creature here and then they're gonna have 3 damage. So we'll make red, but again, I just want these in the yard. We could potentially also flame the Bowmasters at some point. That actually might be worth doing first here. So if I flame the Bowmasters, I'll have 4 mana left. Ral would take me down to 3, Piff would take me down to 1, and then I go back up. Although, really the way to do it, I guess, is Ral, then response with Flame on Bowmasters. They sack everyone into the Ral, but then I'm too low on mana, so that doesn't actually work. So I think we don't get greedy, we just flame the Bowmasters here. 5 damage to target creature. Because I'm going to be wanting to cast these Morphos on the flashback. They're sacking it, that's fine. But now they only have 2 creatures, so they can't necessarily kill a Ral. We've got the Piff. Now we will flip if we can, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so they have Galvanic Discharge. So that's fine. We do lose a flip, take a damage. They have 2, we're effectively at 7. So we do need to be a little bit careful. Ritual's good. I think we do just go for the Ral now. And I'm gonna go for Wish. And then we can play Morphoses after that. Lost the flip. Wish resolves. Play a Morphose. Fails never fails, come on. 2 red. Okay, Ritual's a good pickup. We, again, would like to hit a flip here. Surely we won't lose that many flips in a row. We do need to, if they have Bolt, well, I think if they have Bolt, they would probably have bolted the Ral. 14, 15, we do have the Wish active. So I'm going to Morphose here. Let's see. We won the flip. Okay, we would like to use his ability. So we're gonna go for we can go red, and then we can go blue in case something goes wrong and we have to keep chaining. And this does just represent 16 with Grape Shot, so I'm just gonna go for the Grape Shot. And what are the chances they have life gain? I think basically none. They're shooting us, but I think they're 1 damage short, even if they have bolt. So they don't have 4 damage to a player for 1 red. Potentially if they had bolt and we died there, that would have been pretty bad. But we do just have it here, I think. Yeah, not really anything that they could have from this point. I mean, there's always Mindbreak Trap. There's always, well, there's not Simian Spirit Guide into Pyroblast in Modern or whatever, but you know, there's always some sort of fringe thing that they could technically have, but realistically they don't. So Bombardment was actually kind of scary there. Did a bunch of damage to us. Could have threatened to kill a Ral. We didn't even need to alt Ral. So I do also like, well, we showed the Steam Vents for Flame, but we didn't really show Preordains yet, so that's good. So what do I want to bring in? I think we want the Flood Maws. What don't we want? We can cut the Strike It Rich. We can cut a couple Preordains into a Bowmaster's deck. And we, again, I think I'm going to cut a Wish, figuring that they're more in on like the discard than they are on, I don't think they play like Leyline of the Void. Maybe they play Leyline of the Void? I'm not sure, but I think they're more about like on board hate. So, you know, if we get discarded a bunch and then we have to go get a Piff, that's like kind of where we want to be. I think I'm actually going to keep this, even though it looks weird. Between being on the draw and having Surveils, it has the potential to get explosive, even though it looks like it's nothing but a pile of mana. It's also pretty resilient against discard. So like if they Thought Seize us and take them out of Morphos, it's like, okay, you know. Okay, so they lead on Guide. Probably the least scary opening. I'd rather see that than Ocelot. Draw another mana, so this is kind of turning into too much mana. Thundering Falls? Come on, lag. It's looks like we're lagging a little bit. Okay, there we go. Friends Resolve, I'll keep that. So, card draw, definitely what we need. They've got Sacred Foundry, and they've got another Guide of Souls. Okay, so they could potentially get quite a bit of life here. Make like a big guide. Yeah, I mean, that's scary. This is going to clock me pretty quick, because it's going to gain a bunch of life. We untap, go to our turn, can fetch a mountain. And I think we're just going to Ren's Resolve here. Flood Maw, Reckless Impulse. Okay. So we do need to hit a bear of some kind. I think we're probably dead the turn after this. Assuming they have like creature, pump up another thing, hit us for 8. Yeah, we're dead the turn after this. So we're going to have to win next turn, which feels a little bit dicey. I do have Bowmasters, yeah, so that's going to also be a little bit of a choke on what we can do. I mean, our best draw is, I guess, like Ruby. Yeah, if we can just like untap and draw Ruby, that's like kind of perfect. Oh, they have, oh, they're 9, 10. They're going to hit us 11 down to 4. We were going to have very few draws. And we potentially can Flood Maw the Bowmasters if it comes to that. Fetch and take like 1 from Manamorphose. This is a very aggressive start. Yeah, we're down at 5. They're going to get another cat, get more life and energy. Very aggressive start. Draw a mountain. So we actually have a little bit of a decision here. Are we going to Bloodstained Mire, fetch, taking the damage to thin by 1? Or is there a chance we need to be able to draw the 1 extra card from Bowmasters? I could also defer the decision by playing Morphos first, but I don't think that really helps me. Yeah, I don't think that that actually helps. So we're gonna fetch and we're gonna thin first. And it's because I want to play like at least a ritual first, I think. And then I think it might be another ritual and then Reckless Impulse. So Reckless Impulse has 2 looks at hitting a card I need versus Morphos being 1 look. And this keeps blue up as well, so I can potentially do something with like Preordain if that's what I hit. And we hit more rituals. So we've got rituals. I'm gonna do 1 more ritual here first, again, in case we hit... No, I think I'm gonna do 2 rituals. Yeah, I'm gonna do another ritual here in case we hit a... Well, okay, so I could think about ritual splice ritual right now. That does make me a much bigger pile of mana. There is a possibility where if I hit a Piff, this can turn into a Bearless, because I just have so much mana. I do have 3 Piffs. Yeah, okay, I think I'm interested in just going as all in as I can here. I'm going to cast and splice a ritual. Cast and splice a ritual. Here we can Morphos. And we're going to add blue. Blue. Hit a Ren's Resolve. Okay, it's not over. Hit a Ral. So we play Ral. We pray to flip. We do not have many shots at a flip. I guess I can Flood Maw like the Orc. Yeah, sure. Else? Lost the flip. We got 1 more shot here. Oh no, we get 2 more shots. Else? Lost the flip. 1 more. We can bounce the let's bounce the Flying Cat. Lost the flip. All right. I mean, we had 3 shots to hit that flip, and if we hit that flip, I think we win. But you know, that's, what is that? 2 flips is 12.5. No, 3 flips is 12.5. 2 is yeah, so we were like 87% to flip the Ral there, and if we flip the Ral, we probably win. All right, so we're sideboarding. I think we're just we're gonna just stay the same here. Could think about like 1 Preordain back in on the play. Bowmaster's a little bit less scary. My life total is less likely to be under such heavy pressure on the play. Could even think about 2 back in. Cut 1 Flame for maybe being a little bit slower. Although the raw cards are nice. And do I need the full 4 Flood Maw? Is there more of a chance of racing? Maybe. So maybe we go like this. The 4th Flood Maw I think is more likely better against like Boros rather than Mardu, because Mardu relies more on the like the Bowmasters and Thoughtseize stuff, versus I think it feels like Boros leans a little bit heavier on like the hate permanents. This is unfortunately not something I can keep. If this was a blue land, we would be able to, like fetch land or anything, but as it is, there's just too high of a risk that this just doesn't get to play the game. This is not exactly good. Is it better than going to 5? Is it better than going to 5? I think no. I think I'd rather actually go to 5. What is this hand's plan to win? Like, even if we draw a bear, we have to not get discarded. Well, maybe if we draw a bear, but then, like, okay, sure, we can go get a Past in Flames, but then what are we doing after that? Yeah, I'm gonna mulligan that. This is unkeepable now, we have no lands. So it's gotta be this. And this is kind of a worse version of what we just had. Send away Flood Maw, we don't have room for that. Send away Wish. I think it's send away... Piff is good. No, it's gonna be send away Piff, and it just has to be this. Maul to 4 feels terrible. I mean, the 7 and the 5 were just entirely unkeepable, so there was no choice to be had. We're gonna put that into the yard. And the 6, I think, is worse than the average 5. So here's where we get Thought Seized and then we cry. Okay, maybe it's not Thought Seized, it could be a white creature. Okay, I mean, I'd rather see that than Thought Seize. Alright, we've got land. Question is, do I burn this Morphos? No, we're gonna just Reckless Impulse. We hit land Piff, that is abysmal. And I'll get to play the land, but this Piff is gonna end up gone. The Thought sees us take our Morphos. Great. Good stuff. So we're going to need to hit a Piff at some point. This is gonna start to grow the Ocelot. Tarn. Yeah, I mean, we can get a... we can't do anything with the Piff. We're just gonna get a Surveil. And then maybe we get a big Pyroclasm to like buy time. We'll see. Maybe they like play Bowmasters. They're gonna take another here and they're gonna make another cat. Do they have some sort of card that they're... Okay, they're playing an Amtraptor. Casting Bowmasters, yeah. That's gonna happen. So here we've got the Surveil. Ritual, I would actually Ritual Wish Pyroclasm. Ruby is... I mean, okay, if we don't take Ruby, what are we doing? How much damage are we taking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm gonna have to shock... No, I don't actually have to shock that in. Okay, I mean, we'll try to live the next turn. Yeah, I mean, it's something. Ruby, tapped Steam Vents. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Let's see what they got. Do they have removal for the Ruby? Looks like not yet. We're gonna take a big chunk of damage. Go to... Yeah, alright, so we're at 6. They have Static Prison on the Ruby. Alright, so now we need land off the top. And they're Thought Seizing us taking the Wish. Alright. Yeah, this one was not meant to be. Our chances were in... And we actually did draw the land, but the Thought Seize was too timely. Alright, so our chances in that one were in game 2, where we had 3 chances at a Ral flip, and we flipped 3 tails in a row, and sometimes that's what happens. You know, we maximize our probabilities, but you know, it's not always a guaranteed thing, and that's one of the things that comes with playing a non-deterministic combo deck. All right, so we are 3-1 going into the last round. Let's see how it goes. All right, last round, we are on the play, revealing our Jegantha. This hand looks pretty good. We have 4 land. Well, it's not that good. The 4 lands is not great, but double Impulse and a Ral, I am going to keep. We can go get a Surveil land on turn 1. Land pass kind of screams Ruby, but we'll see. Our opponent is not on a Jegantha deck, but is on Arid Mesa pass. So maybe it's like a pseudo mirror where they're playing Shatter Skull. We'll get Thundering Falls. Past in Flames can go to the yard because we will get value out of it from there. So it's almost like drawing a card. Ritual is a pretty good pickup. I can go Mountain. I think I'm not going to play Ral here. I think I will play Reckless, though, with the idea of probably trying to go next turn. Okay, and then Ral Pyretic is pretty good as far as what could be on top. Opponent looks like they're on Storm to me. And again, it could be Energy, but I'm guessing Storm. Once we get to Ral, Ritual, Rent. Oh, depends on what we draw. We probably can't Rens before Piff. We probably have to Piff first. But, you know, if something happens to our Ral, we can potentially play a replacement Ral, try to keep going with this Rens, something like that. So maybe our opponent is doing the math on whether they get to try to turn 2 us here. Turn 2 is not that likely to work. So, you know, I feel like when this deck first came out, people were like trying to aggressively turn 2, which is not necessarily a bad thing when you're sort of learning and pushing the boundaries. But I think often going for it on turn 2 is lower percentage than just waiting until turn 3. Because, like, okay, yeah, sometimes you get there with, like, you know, a Manamorphose or Reckless Impulse and a Dream, but not always. Okay, so they're playing Mesa. Still feels like Storm. So if that's the case, we're going to want our silences in. Probably over some amount of Flame of Anor. We'll cut like 2 Flame of Anor. Maybe we cut... yeah, I'd have to think about what else. Probably want the... well, maybe we don't want the Preordains as much on the draw. Maybe it's like 2 Flame of Preordain. Do want the Strike It Rich. They're fetching. Let's see what they get. Mountain. This definitely just feels more and more like Storm. I mean, I think they figure they're probably dead next turn. So if they... okay, and they play the Ruby. Okay, so they're just going to hope that they're not dead. Okay, so we draw a Scalding Tarn. I'm going to play and fetch with the Tarn for the thinning. I think the 1 life point is not going to matter, because we are going for it here, and I'm assuming if we don't get it here, we are probably dead. I'm going to play the Ral from Exile. This one's in my hand for like a potential Valakut Awakening or whatever. And we go for Pyretic. We won the flip. We would not like to flip him. Pyretic. Lost the flip. We're at 5, so now it's going to be Past in Flames. So this is essentially Storm spell 3, even though it's, or like Ral spell 3, even though it's spell 4. Won the flip. Would not like to flip him. We have Pyretic. Tails. Won the flip. So that is spell 4. So it's Ritual, Piff, Ritual. Now I'm going to go Reckless, Hold Priority, Pyretic. So now we've played 6 instant or sorceries. So we won the flip. We will flip Ral. Won the flip. We would not flip Ral. Reckless Impulse happens and we hit a Manamorphose. So now we can minus our Ral. Before we start casting cards, that's a very good selection of cards. We're going to play another Ral. And we can try and flip this Ral too. And I'm going to respond with this Morphos. because the other ones are cast without paying mana cost, but this one I do have to pay for, so I might as well use the RAL reduction in case we flip it. I'm going to make a blue at some point here, but I have enough other Morphoses I don't really need to. Cows won the flip. We will flip RAL. And they scoop it up because we have Wish, we have a bunch of free spells, and they've seen enough. All right, so we are up a game in the mirror. Opponent is playing the white version, it looks like. So we're going to want silence. I'm going to trim a flame or two. Flood Maw is, I think, not really what we need. Could trim... Yeah, what else do I want to trim here? And Piff is not great against silence, but still is like just a good card overall. I think we still do want it. Maybe we cut like one Preordain on the draw. Honestly, maybe it's two Preordains on the draw, because like, do we have time for that? Maybe not. I guess if we Preordain on turn one, we do. So honestly, maybe it's cut another flame. Honestly, maybe it's cut all four flames and leave the Preordains, because this is really not Flame's best matchup. Although we do get, it's a little bit better on the play, because we get to either blow up if like we don't have an immediate win, we get to either blow up a Medallion or shoot a RAL. I'm gonna go like this though. Like, we're just gonna try and be fast on the draw here. Reveal the Gigantha in case we need it for some reason. Okay, so silence is good. 2 rubies is not the worst in case they have removal for it. So I'm definitely going to keep this. Probably going to lead turn 1 tapped Sacred Foundry, turn 2 Foothills Surveil land, and then it makes it a little bit less suspicious if I'm like shocking in a Sacred Foundry. So they lead on a Valakut Stoneforge. I could also go turn 1 Wooded Foothills Surveil, but then I have to shock in the Sacred Foundry and it looks suspicious. I could just shock in the Sacred Foundry now. I could also wooded... Because wooded, if they go for it on 2, I do get to silence them here. I think I'm going to go with the wooded. I'm not... Maybe I just shock in the Sacred if I need to. So this lets me either go for a Surveil land. I'm trying to play like a little bit of a slower, more control-y game. They have a ruby. Okay. We're gonna go for Thundering Falls. I'm gonna actually keep that. Then I'm going to Preordain. Desperate Ritual, Strike It Rich. I'm gonna keep the Desperate. I don't think I need the Strike It Rich. Play the Wooded Foothills, and then it's gonna be... Oh wait, I don't have my... Oh, that was a big mistake. That was a very big mistake. Yeah, because my Sacred Foundry is in my hand. Well, yeah, we have no option but to pass. Yeah, that was probably a game-losing mistake. And we're not necessarily guaranteed to win if we don't have this, or if we do have the silence, and maybe they just don't manage to string something together here, but... Yeah, they go for the Reckless. Hit a Braid Pyretic. Braid's a bit of a dud for them. Well, we do get to go for the other Surveil here if they don't have it. And then we get to not play the Ruby, probably. Okay, they're passing. Looks like they're maybe holding up a silence. So I'm going to go for Elegant Parlor. I'm going to keep that. We're going to play like a control game here. And then I think it is Sacred Foundry pass. I'll play it tapped. Don't want to run a Ruby into the Abrade. Just don't give them a chance to use the Abrade. Hopefully this Pyretic is also -1 cards for them as well. And we're going to try and wait till maybe they go for like a Piff and then we silence or something like that. Or if they silence us, we will silence in response. They're probably going to Pyretic here. Oh, they're going for Ral. Okay. Going for the Pyretic, sure. They don't flip. Let's see what else they've got. Got Reckless Impulse. Strike it Rich Wish. Alright. Wish we need to be a little bit careful of if they have Pact. So, okay, so the Strike it Rich is fine. They have 3 mana here. Do they have Piff maybe? Okay, they're going for Wish. So now I think here is where we go for a silence. So that they can't potentially like pact us and then continue. Well, so it just kind of counters the Wish in that they don't get to play something off of the Wish. Also, they don't get to flip the Ral this turn because they've only played 4 spells. So they kind of have to start fresh next turn. And they burned some mana. They, you know, I guess they got cards off of the Impulse, but they do get to decide if they want to flip this Ral, potentially. Okay, they don't flip him. So they do have silence up via the treasure, although I think it's not that likely that they actually have the silence. So I could go Ruby, Ritual, Ral, Rens. Okay, so I think I like starting on Ruby. The Abrade is gone. I think I like Ritual. Yeah. Question is, what do they have? Are they going to silence us here? I'll play Ral. I'll play Ren's Resolve. We'll go Tails. Lost the flip. Okay. We hit another Ral. That's not what we needed. I guess we're passing. We do have the Steam Vents for next turn, potentially. What we don't want to need to do is play this silence. We'd like to hold it. Alright, I mean, I'll trade silence for silence. They didn't silence us there yet. Yeah, it would have been interesting if we could have forced them to silence us on our turn, because then maybe we could have gotten some more resources out of them. As it stands now, we need to draw something that does something. That's not really it. We'll play the Steam Vents. And we could play a Ral Pyretic, but like, what does it do? Doesn't do anything. Yeah, I think we just pass, which is bad because we're going to lose, but we don't really have anything else we can do. There's no point in playing the other Ral there. I'm holding the Ruby back because maybe it looks like I have like more cards that do something. Okay, well they've got Past in Flames. Yeah, we needed to hit a little bit better on our Ren's Resolve, and we just didn't. They're probably gonna silence us here. Assume we're dead. We're very likely dead. Yeah, alright, good luck. And we had chances. If we hit a little bit better on that Ren's Resolve, they have to burn their silence, and they commit the piff, and we silence on the commit. Maybe we get there. Or maybe if we drew something better there, we untap and like we have a Ren's Resolve or something. Or even our own Past in Flames would be not bad. Although we don't really have that much in the yard, really. Bloodstained, yeah. Fetching. Alright. Probably we're just going to scoop it up here in a second. Let me just see what they hit when they flip this thing. Arthritic, yeah. Maybe they'll miss all of their flips. It could happen. It can't happen. There we go. All right, so as soon as they have a Wish in the yard already. Yeah, they minus, what did they exile? I just want to see what they have sideboard wise. They have more silence. No, that's the silence they flashbacked. Where is their, this is their can be played exile? Yeah, okay, so they have a braids, they have some silence. All right, they're not going to show us anything. I'll scoop it up. Okay, so I'm more interested in the flames on the draw, or on the play. Maybe not all 4 of them, but at least some of them. Could also be a little bit interested in boarding in an empty. It's something where like, no. I was thinking like if we like ritual up and then we like empty and then try and control the game with some silences. Honestly, maybe it's not the worst idea. Maybe we do board in the empty. And then, yeah, we just like control the game with silence. What don't I need? Well, the flames are still kind of slow. Maybe it's just we don't play the flames. No, the flame is good though. Like on turn 2, they like play something and then we flame. Yeah, I do like the flames still. What are we cut? Maybe we cut a Wish for being not that necessary, and it's not really going to get attacked. Maybe we cut a Ral? No, I don't want to cut a Bear. I could cut a Valakut Awakening. Maybe we cut one of these just for mana. And then we cut like the Valakut Awakening, go down to 16 land. We have the Preordains, just trying to Xerox them. Or like dump a pile of goblins on 2. I don't think that's that likely, but maybe. Okay, maybe it's 2 flame. No, but flame is, no, I do just want the flames. Past in Flames is like kind of bad against silence. Maybe we don't need the empty. All right, so maybe we go like this. All right, we're revealing our Gigantha. We have a hand with no lands, so we've got a Maul. We've got triple silence and some other cards. I mean, I'm going to keep this. I feel like silence is probably just one of the best cards in the matchup. We do need to present a clock alongside what am I sending away? Honestly, maybe I have to send away 1 silence. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we do. So we do need to present a clock alongside having silences, but you know. So here we're gonna go for the Elegant Parlor. I'm gonna graveyard that. We do need to just hit another land. We don't, so we're passing. So that's pretty bad. Flame is, I mean, it's pretty good, but yeah, I mean, we had the 2 draws at the land and we missed. Getting a little bit punished for cutting the Valakut Awakening, but what did we play the Valakut Awakening over? They pick up a Ruby. But our turn. Pick up another Flame of Anor. Yeah, we're definitely punished. I mean, had one of these been a land, we would have been in better shape. But I think I would have still played the 3 flame. I think I would have actually maybe cut a Ruby actually, or yeah, we'll see. So they've got the Ren's Resolve. Let's see what they hit. They hit double silence. Can't really play it here. They're just passing. Land? Come on, land. They're silencing us. That's fine. Go to our turn. We draw a Ral. I mean, we do need one of those at some point. It's going to be discard Flame of Anor, though. So here, when they try and silence us, we get to silence in response. It needs to be land, like, immediately. Past in Flames is the real concern. They mill a Strike It Rich. They're going to hit us with the Ral. That's kind of inconsequential. Still not a land. I mean, it does mean we have a chance if we like Ral Rich, like we get to do like the delayed turn 2 if we have to try next turn. We don't want to be in that spot though. They're drawing a card with their Canyon. Yeah, that's fine. They don't really have the most stocked graveyard yet, so. And they've got a Morphos. Okay, that's going to happen. I've got a Wren's, yeah. That's going to happen. A Braid, Arid Mesa. A Braid's not great because it means our Ral will die. Another Morphos. Maybe they're just like going to spin their wheels a little bit and draw some lands. Or maybe they tap out. That's another possibility. Another Ren's Resolve they hit. So far it's land, though. More land, more foes. So this is spell 6, so they could flip here. And if they do, we will wait for them to flip Ral and then minus and then silence in response. So 8 in the exile. Honestly, it was not the best Ral -8. They do have extra reduction, but they don't have the engine from the Ral. And it's just a question of, do they find a Past in Flames? So we draw, it needs to be land. Okay, so it is land. So if I play the land, now the Abrade is like the problem. So if I Ritual, Ral, Ritual, Reckless, that doesn't work. I need this Abrade to go away. They didn't have a Piff yet. They could certainly have one in their hand. But like, what are my options realistically? Like, I can't play the Ral into the Abrade. There's the chances that I win if I like Ritual Ren's Resolve or something are basically 0. I can't set myself up in the spot to have Flame of Anor, so it's just pass and hope that they don't have anything. Like, hope that they just kind of brick here and they like don't have a Past in Flames, which is not that likely. They're pretty likely to have one. Fire. They have 5 in hand? I thought it was less than that. Got another ruby. They have a silence. What do they have? Oh, they're passing. Okay. I mean, we have a chance, maybe. Braid's gone. 4 in hand. We pick up a Bloodstained Mire. So I'm going to play that. And, I'm going to... Well, am I going to play Ral first and fetch? No, I'm going to fetch first. If they have silence, they have silence. 2 of their silences are already gone. Yeah, so, alright, we just try to go for it here. Do they have removal for the Ral is the other question. Seems like maybe yes. They do, they have an Abrade. Okay. We'll flip him, but it won't work. Then we'll play the Reckless Impulse. Gear up for next turn, hit 2 lands. Good stuff. So, I mean, we do have this Flame, but they have so many cards that they're just not gonna... They're like, they have like so many reducers and so much mana that the gateway isn't the gateway isn't the mana, and they just do hit the Past in Flames. Okay. I mean, they had to have top decked it there because they absolutely should have played it last turn if they had it. Even if they're suspecting that we have silence, then we just silence, but then, okay, they can play it out of their graveyard the next turn. Like, it burns its way through a silence in a way that doesn't expend resources, so it had to be off the top there. Unless they made a mistake, I guess, but, you know. Yeah, I mean, and they had the Abrade in hand. That's definitely a card that we could have had them as, or had on the radar of them having, but the issue really there is that we can't afford to play around it at that point. We have no more silences. We have a hand that can try to win. We know one of their Abrades is in the yard, so we take our shot and, you know, maybe it works. 2 of the silences are in the yard. But yeah, we know they're not playing the Flame of Anor version either. Really, this game, or this match, I feel like it just came down to we kept the 1 land with the Surveil in game 3, and then never saw us. Well, it took us way too long to see a second land. We didn't see a second land till like turn 4 or 5. I think turn 5 maybe. All right. Well, have they played a Wish yet? All right, they have. So we'll scoop it up. All right, so we end up 3-2. I mean, definitely some close games in the matches we lost. We could have won them. Let's hop back and take a look at the deck list. I would say the deck felt pretty clean. I do like just the 4 silence, 4 flood maw, and then like the utility stuff. Pyroclasm, I feel like playing against energy twice, it was like not a card I really wanted, so this would probably be the cut in favor of some other sideboard card. Not entirely sure what yet. Not sure 4 flame is necessary. They're a little bit clunky, so I'd maybe be interested in like 3 flame and maybe 1 more land. I know I'm playing a couple lands fewer than a lot of the Ruby lists. However, we are playing 4 Preordain, so like Xerox strategy, you can kind of evaluate 2 cantrips as a land or a cantrip as like half a land. So, you know, with that in mind, we're kind of on like effectively 19 lands. So I don't mind that much. need to think a little bit more about some of the sideboarding, like what specifically I want to cut, because sometimes I was like, do I really want all 4 Flood Maw? And if I don't want all 4 Flood Maw, I probably shouldn't have the 4 Flood Maw in the board. Although that being said, that was against Mardu, and like against Boros, I'd be cutting a Past in Flames there in favor of the 4 Flood Maw. So maybe it's just fine, and it's just the fact that we played against Mardu twice and not Boros. Deck feels good. I mean, I this is probably one of the things I would take to a tournament. I mean, I do maybe have some RCQs coming up for Modern, although I also need to be focusing on Pioneer for the Pioneer RC. But other than that, yeah, Jegantha, that was a bit of a mistake in the first round, but we won that match anyway, so that didn't matter so much. All right, have a good time, or have a good, I don't know, night, morning, whatever it is for you. If you are, you know, anywhere else, and keep casting Grape Shot and Thassa's Oracle and winning with small incremental edges that you have to you know, sort of build up by I don't know, deterministic combo decks are good. Bye.